Welcome everyone, and apologies for the slightly delayed start, but everything is in order and Baraka is now ready to get on with her workshop. And the title of which is A Loneliness Epidemic, Understanding and Addressing Loneliness Through CI. So a very important workshop for us all. A little bit about Baraka, who's living in Romania. She's married with 2 children and has her own professional business, as well as working as a volunteer for a Romanian charity service of the Order of Malta. Baraka is a CBT therapist and a PTSD counsellor, using different psychotherapy techniques, for example, EMDR, rewind, art therapy, and psychodrama, just to name a few. She's also an Ashtanga and Vinyasa yoga teacher and Chi running practitioner. Baraka really believes in the healing power of holistic therapy, which assumes that an individual's self-perception or their consciousness is not to be found in any one particular area, but is very much an integration of the entire person, including their physical body, mind, feelings, emotions, and spirit. So without further ado, I will hand you over to Baraka. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, today I want to address an invisible yet pervasive issue that affects millions of people worldwide. Is the perception of loneliness. Even though we are living in an age where digital connections are more abundant than ever, many people still profoundly feel disconnected. This paradox underscores the complexity of loneliness. It extends beyond physical isolation to a much deeper sense of emotional disconnection, a lack of truly meaningful relationships, and the feeling of being unseen and unheard. It's not working. Okay. During this workshop, you will discover how compassionate inquiry addresses loneliness, understand the deep-rooted causes and effects of loneliness. We will explore together the scientific insights, how loneliness impacts our health, mental and also physical health. We will learn practical strategies to combat loneliness, and we will reflect on personal experiences of loneliness, and we will practice compassionate inquiry together. I'd like to share a quote that I feel encapsulates the topic of today's conversation. The greatest disease in today's world is not leprosy or tuberculosis, but the feeling of being unwanted, uncared for. We can cure physical diseases with medicine, but only cure for loneliness, despair, and hopelessness is love. There are many in the world who are dying for a piece of bread, but there are many more dying for a little love. Mother Teresa. This quote is a stark reminder that even in our modern, technology-driven world, the core human needs for connection and love is paramount. While technology may give us the illusion of connection, it cannot fill the void of emotional intimacy that every human being craves. Okay. I would like just to take a moment to reflect a little bit on the perception of loneliness. Can you please raise your hand? How many of you have ever felt lonely? Wow. And now please raise your hand if you've experienced loneliness in the past 6 months. Okay. So this is very important to acknowledge that so many of us live in loneliness. And it's important also to know that loneliness is not just a physical isolation, it's an internal state. Many of us have felt lonely while surrounded by people. Loneliness is about the absence of emotional connection. And in today's workshop, we will work to understand this more deeply. As we continue, I encourage you to keep thinking about your personal experience with loneliness, and we will circle back to it in later discussion. And now I would like to meet Carla's story. She's a client of mine. And through her, I really hope that we can better understand the impact of loneliness in our lives. She's a dedicated school teacher in her mid-40s. From an outsider perspective, Carla's life seems ideal. She has a stable career, a loving husband, and a comfortable home. However, beneath the outwardly perfect life lies a deep struggle. Carla has felt an overwhelming sense of loneliness for as long as she can remember. Growing up, Carla always felt invisible. Despite her mother making time for conversation, there was always something missing. Carla's word would often be burst outside or her emotion misunderstood. This lack of emotional attunement for her family made her feel unseen, unheard, and unloved. Over time, this sense of being overlooked became a central part of her identity. It shaped the way she perceived her relationship and her own self-worth. As she grew older, Carla hoped that marriage would fill the void. She met Alex, a kind and supportive man, and they got married. But even in her marriage, she couldn't shake the feeling of isolation. While Alex loved her dearly, he couldn't fully understand the depths of her emotional loneliness. Carla would often sit in their shared home, feeling like a stranger in her own life. Despite being physically present with Alex, emotionally, she felt profoundly alone. Her loneliness extended on her professional life too. As a teacher, she tried to form strong connection with her students, pouring her energy into her work. She hoped to find the connection she was missing at home in her childhood through her career. Yet, despite her efforts, the sense of isolation followed her everywhere she went. By December of last year, Carla was exhausted. Her sleep was restless, and her mind constantly clouded with feelings of sadness. She felt isolated. This isolation manifested physically. Her body felt heavy, fatigued, and disconnected. She reached out for professional help and was diagnosed with depression. Medication provided some relief, but the deeper emotional issues lingered. That's when Carla reached out to me for therapy. Together, through compassionate inquiry, we began to explore her core beliefs. These beliefs were heart-wrenching. I am visible. No one can understand me. And she explored her biggest perception. I feel so alone that it physically hurts. So, you can ask me, why am I telling you Carla's stories? I would like to emphasize here two important things. To be lonely, it doesn't mean that I'm alone. Okay. And I always asked her, whom have you talked about your problems? But she always said, my mother always was with me. And we were working with CI, and in one session, her body remembered something. She said to me, I was invisible when I was a baby, and was asking her, tell me please more about it. What did you feel then? And she said to me, I was in my mother's arms, and she was doing something else. And I decided to have some session with the mother. And we had 2 sessions. And I asked her mother, what happened exactly? Because, you see, Carla said to me that you were breastfeeding her and something happened there. And she said, oh, yes, actually, I had always my earplugs in my ear because, you know, I am a very good mother. I was a very good wife. I had to clean the room, I had to clean the house, but I also love my career. So yes, my earplugs were in my ears, and I was listening to a podcast. So, that was the beginning of Carla's loneliness, because the little baby felt that she's invisible. She is not important to the mother, because the perception of loneliness means that I'm not connected. To be connected with someone, that means that I have to be in the present moment. Okay? And the other thing I would like to emphasize here is that Carla said that I feel so alone that it physically hurts. And you see, social pain is really hurts. In 2002, the psychologist Matthew Lieberman and his team conducted a fascinating study using fMRI brain scans. Participants played a virtual ball tossing game and they were believing that the other players are humans too, but they were computers. And they were tossing the ball to each other. But suddenly, the virtual players stopped including them, the humans, leaving them excluded. The brain scans were remarkable. The same region of the brain that processed physical pain, yes, actual physical pain, lit up when participants were excluded from the game. This insight shows us that social pain is not just metaphorical. It's experienced in the brain in a very similar way to physical pain. The implications of this research are profound. When people experience chronic loneliness, they often exhibit defensive behaviors. They are withdrawing themselves from others. They are becoming hypervigilant. They are experiencing shame. And they also perceiving that being alone, it means that a social threat is near. Over time, this behavior deepens isolation, leading to depression and anxiety. And yet, our capacity to feel loneliness and to feel social pain has evolutionary roots. In the past, being isolated from the group could mean death, as early humans depended on social bonds for survival. The feeling of loneliness likely evolved as a signal to reconnect with others. If we were to eliminate the sensation of loneliness, it would be like eliminating to sense the hunger and the thirst. Just as we have physical needs, we also have psychological needs for social connection. So I would like to have a little interactive moment. Please reflect on a time when you felt truly lonely. What did it feel like, and how did your body respond? If you can go, or if you can find a person with who would you like to talk to. Okay, about these questions. So what are the evolutionary roots of the loneliness? From an evolutionary perspective, loneliness serves a critical function. Early humans survived from forming close-knit social bonds. Isolation from the group meant vulnerability to predators and a reduced chance of survival. As a result, our brains evolved to interpret social exclusion as a serious threat. The feelings of loneliness we experience today are rooted in the evolutionary history. When we are disconnected from others, our brains send us signals, much like hunger or thirst, urging us to reconnect with our social group. While the evolutionary mechanism once helped humans survive, in modern society, chronic loneliness can have devastating effects on both mental and physical health. It's important to understand that loneliness is not just an emotional state, it's a serious health issue. Research has shown that chronic loneliness is linked to an increased risk of cardiovascular disease, cognitive decline, and a premature death. In fact, a study by the Surgeon General Vivek Murthy found that chronic loneliness increases the risk of coronary heart disease by 29% and the risk of stroke by 32%. Another study conducted by John Cacioppo revealed that loneliness can be as deadly as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. This finding illustrates the profound impact of loneliness has on our physical health. Loneliness is not just a fleeting feeling. It is a significant risk factor for many serious illnesses. The impact of loneliness on mental health is equally alarming. Lonely individuals are twice as likely to develop depression and anxiety compared to those who feel socially connected. A longitudinal study published in The Lancet found that for every point increase on loneliness scale, the likelihood of expressing depressive symptoms increased by 16%. This suggests that even moderate levels of loneliness can significantly affect our mental health. Furthermore, loneliness is linked to an increased risk of cognitive decline and dementia. A study published in the Journal of Gerontology revealed that lonely older adults experience faster rates of cognitive decline and are 64% more likely to develop dementia compared to those who feel socially connected. Loneliness is not just an individual problem. Studies show that up to 30% of adults regularly experience loneliness. The number of people who report having no close friends has increased dramatically over the past few decades. For example, 3/4 of Generation Z is not so connected like before. The disconnect between technological connection and emotional connection is a troubling trend. In the UK, over 3.9 million people live in a chronic loneliness, and the numbers are similarly high across the globe. The statistics paint a picture of growing public health crisis. Loneliness, like any other health condition, needs to be treated with the same level of urgency as heart disease or diabetes. So now I would like again to shift back to you, so please take a moment to reflect. How do you know when you are feeling lonely? Is it the emotional weight? Do you have some cognitive signs like self-doubt or shame? Or it is a physical symptom such as racing heart or tension? So please pair with a person close to you and discuss these signals together. Da, îl întreb că vrea să So, how can we build meaningful connections? First, we need to understand that connection is more than just being physically present with others. It's about emotional intimacy, mutual understanding, and shared experiences. Research shows that the quality of our relationships, not just the quantity, has a profound impact on our well-being. Deep, meaningful connections can alleviate the pain of loneliness and improve both our mental and physical health. So, quality over quantity. Scientific studies consistently show that it's not about how many people you know, but how deeply you connect with them. Prioritizing meaningful interactions where trust and empathy are present is the key to building strong relationships. For example, instead of asking someone a superficial question like, "How was your day?" try something deeper. What was the most meaningful part of your day? This encourages the other person to open up, fostering emotional intimacy. Vulnerability is the key to deep connection. Brené Brown's extensive research on vulnerability has shown that being open about our fears, struggles, and desires creates space for authentic connections. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we invite others to relate to us on a deeper level. In today's society, vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, but in reality, it is one of the strongest tools we have for building true emotional intimacy. When we show our vulnerability, we create opportunities for others to do the same. Shared experiences, whether big or small, are the building blocks of connection. Whether it's a sharing meal, participating in a group activity like this, or simply having a meaningful conversation. These moments of connection help to foster a sense of belonging and community. Active listening is one of the most powerful ways to build connection. When we listen deeply, without interrupting or thinking about our response, we show others that we truly value their feelings and experience. Reciprocity. True connection is a two-way street. Healthy relationships are built on mutual trust, respect, and reciprocity. Both parties contribute to a relationship and benefit from it. This give and take foster emotional balance and prevents feelings of loneliness from creeping in. So now I invite you again to engage in an exercise. This is the last one. With the person next to you, or one of you will take the role of the speaker, and the other will be the listener. The speaker will have 5 minutes to answer this question. When was the last time you felt deeply connected to someone? And what was it that made you feel so connected? As the listener, practice active listening. Your goal is not to offer solution or advice, but to simply be present. After 5 minutes, you will switch roles. And what is important here, it's a big difference that I'm observing what the other person is saying to me, or that I'm giving an advice. Because sometimes, when we are not seen, we are not asking for advice. When we have a problem, we just need a person to sit near us without judgment. Okay, so you can begin. So how to foster connection in your life? These are actually the four rules. Be present. In your interaction, be fully present. Pull away distractions like your phone and focus your attention on the person in front of you. Being present helps foster emotional intimacy and trust. Build trust. Trust is the foundation of any strong relationship. Be consistent, reliable, and open with your feelings. Practice gratitude. Expressing gratitude for the people in your life is a simple yet powerful way to strengthen your connection. Regularly acknowledging the value of your relationships. Create opportunities for connection. Whether through shared activities, meaningful conversations, or acts for kindness, creating opportunities for connection is essential. Take the time to invest in your relationships, and foster deeper connections. There are a lot of causes on loneliness. I wrote it down here, but sadly I do not have time to go in deeply. With the children, the problem is nowadays the overuse of technology, right? With young adults, loss of traditional social structures, reliance on social media. With the middle-aged adults, is the work-life imbalance and also economic instability, and the elderly, the loss of the loved ones. And a very sad thing is here that after the statistics in May in 2023, the loneliest people are between the age of 25 and 35, not the elder ones. Yeah. Okay. What strategies can we use to address loneliness in personal level? Okay. Deepen personal relationships. prioritize meaningful interaction, reflect on work-life balance. On family level, go do some trips together, eat together, read together, play together, travel together, right? On community level, expand home care, social work, and in conclusion, loneliness is a complex issue with far-reaching implications for our health and well-being. Even if we are doing everything else right in our life, exercising regularly, eating well, having enough sleep, we could still be harming our health by neglecting our social connections. Therefore, nurturing relationship should be seen as an essential aspect of self-care, and the signals of loneliness should not be ignored. Research shows that one of the strongest predictors of happiness isn't wealth or fame, but the quality of our relationships. As we grow older, two of the most common regrets people express are, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends, and I wish I hadn't worked so hard. As you live today, I encourage you to take time to reflect on your relationships. How can you foster deeper connections in your life and also with yourself? And how can you create space for others to feel seen, heard, and understood? So now before we wrap up, I'd like to save a few minutes for questions and reflections. Feel free to share your thoughts, reflections, or questions you have. Thank you so much for being here today. Take care and make time to connect.
Hello? Yes, thank you for the presentation. I feel like there is a cliffhanger. I really want to know what happened with your client, the person who feels so lonely in her entire life. How is she doing now? How have you helped her to cure her entire life of loneliness? Thank you.
Yes, actually, we had some sessions together with the mother and Carla. And actually, she understands what happened, and the mother also understands, and they try to have a connection now. For example, right now, they are in Greece, traveling together. And there was also the problem with the husband, you know, because the husband always wanted to solve her problems. And she never couldn't say that, okay, that's my problem, I really want to solve it alone. Just please be near me. The only thing I need is your support, you know. She is not at medication right now, but she is still on therapy.
Thank you.
Thank you. How do we stay authentic and have meaningful conversation and connections with people that seem to be more disconnected? And I mean, they really don't need to know or hear truth. They want to have superficial conversations.
Yes, sometimes they have. That's why I said that we can cure actually loneliness on personal level too, right? If I'm meeting a person and every time I'm seeing that that person is only physically there, but she's somewhere else in her mind, that means that I need another partner for discussion.
Search for more friends.
Yes.
To connect. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Because that's so important to have one or only two friends, but I can be vulnerable with that friend and I can be present with that person.
Can I have another question, please?
Please do.
When this is happening, is that a sense of I will not be welcome, because it's the shame saying if these people are not open to have meaningful conversations, how come you go and ask for a connection for someone who might give you that?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you find that you do? How do you initiate? What, I mean, I don't know if it's a
Yes.
it's a good question.
It was a day when my husband invited me out to a dinner. And he said to me, "Where are you?" And physically I was there, but of course my mind was somewhere else. I was thinking to my clients, and what will I do tomorrow? Okay? So sometimes, what does it mean to be honest with ourselves and to be authentic? That means that I became vulnerable and I'm saying to the person next to me, what do I really need? I can say to that person, and sometimes the other person do not know that there is a such thing, that connection. Yeah. So you can help that person, explaining to that person that real connection means to be in the present moment. Because when I'm in the future, or I'm in the past, nothing will happening. Because we are living now and here.
We're both gone. Thank you.
Thank you for the questions.
Thank you. This may be something of an unanswerable question. It's more a possibility. There's extreme loneliness in the elderly community, especially the marginalized, isolated elders who are in perhaps nursing homes. Is it possible that they really haven't been studied thoroughly, which is why their numbers are so low?
Actually, I showed the statistics. They were studied. And that's why it's so sad that, yes, the generation between 25 and 35 years, they perceive their loneliness more than the elderly people.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Baroka. What I can share with my own experience with loneliness.
Please do.
Yeah, I've been feeling lonely for the past 2 years, and it's really a sense of deep sadness, isolation, being cut off from the world, not being wanted, not being seen. And for me, this goes back to childhood trauma, because I was actually abandoned when I was 3. And I know that this deep sense of despair and not having someone to take care of you comes from my childhood. So maybe what I was missing in your presentation was to highlight this connection between the childhood experience, the trauma, and the present life. Because for me, it's the trauma that is being reenacted in our life right now when we experience loneliness and this deep sense of disconnection. Because this part of ourselves wants to be seen and heard and acknowledged. This is my understanding. And in these moments, what I do is just be with my loneliness, be with the despair, be with the sadness. And this is where the relief comes from. If I try to distract myself or to combat loneliness or to do something else at this moment, it doesn't help me. So the only thing is like being with my body, my sensations, my beliefs, and be curious about them. And for me, this is the way to heal, actually.
Thank you so much for sharing. Yes, actually, perceiving loneliness is something subjective, but what I want always to emphasize about loneliness, that Carla wasn't a traumatized child. To feel lonely doesn't mean that you have to live in trauma or that you had some traumas in your childhood. That's the tricky part of loneliness. Yes. Yes, so we can say that it's, yeah. Okay.
Do you want to share what she says, or the rest understands it too? When you
Oh, you can say it. Can you give her the mic?
Thank you.
Well, I said that, what did I say? That Carla example is the trauma of disconnection inside because she didn't experience attuned caregiver. So that's a trauma of disconnection, that you disconnect from your true self. Therefore, in an adult life, you experience loneliness. That's what you were saying as well. That's many probably people in this room experienced. Oh, maybe, you know, I don't know that, but thank you.
Mai avem încă două întrebări. We have time only for 2 questions. You can take who was the first?
You were here.
Thank you. I was wondering if there's research or information that shows if being connected, because the 3 pillars that you show, the personal, the family, the community, how much impact does that has in I don't know, going through the loneliness or modifying the perspective? Because we cannot ask someone, I'm trying to make my sentences, sorry. So, for example, if our family is not a possibility to have connection because of their own things and not possibilities, we search for community and we search for friends that we resonate with. But I was wondering if there's if these 3 segments influence differently in the sensation or perception of loneliness. I don't know if I'm clear.
I didn't really understand, sorry.
No? Okay. Did anyone understood me? Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to try one more time. But okay, so what I'm trying to see or inquiry about, it's if being this whole person that has family, friends, and community, and we are members of these 3 areas, and we feel lonely. Me personally, I feel lonely recurrently. And I know I cannot ask my family for certain things because they cannot give that.
Okay.
They're disconnected with themselves. I search for people here. I have friends that I can talk to some about certain things. So I was wondering how being these 3 pillars impact in the perception of loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
Do they impact differently? And if they impact differently, does the recovery is differently as well? Was it a bit
so
clear?
actually we don't need all the 3 pillars to feel good in our body. You know. There are there are a lot of research, and there is also the book of John Cacioppo, Loneliness, where we can read about these 3 pillars. But he emphasized that the most important pillar is how do I feel in my body? Yeah. That is the most important pillar. Am I connected with myself? Do I know my needs? You know? So and your question...
Would that mean that if we have only that one fulfilled, the other ones don't matter? The other 2?
Of course they matter. Of course, because they are important. But I can feel myself that I'm not lonely if I'm connected with myself.
I see.
And I have, for example, one good friend or a people who I can talk to.
Yeah. Okay.
But how, can I ask you something?
Yes, sure.
Okay, because you put this question, and so how do you feel? Is it enough for you to be?
I think that's what I've done all my life, like strengthening the relationship within myself to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I was wondering if because I'm a science person, so there's research that shows how well-being can be improved So I was just wondering if having the other two pillars contribute to that sense of not feeling lonely or perceiving loneliness as deeply or as dramatic. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
I was just wondering about that.
Yes,
Yeah.
you know, this is the perfect situation when we can have all the three levels. But I encourage you to look for this book, Loneliness, from John Cacioppo. And there are a lot of research you can find, data and statistics and everything.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
And the last question, because we do not have time.
Thank you. I wanted to share something.
Please.
Stephen Porges, who wrote about polyvagal theory,
Okay.
he has an expression for what happens when we are not seen. So when we meet another person who's actually not seeing us, he calls this biological rudeness. Biological rudeness, he calls it, because our nervous system perceives that as a rudeness.
Yes,
And
it is.
in this context, I arrived into Bucharest the evening before yesterday, and I was having dinner on my own in a friendly place, and I felt that I wanted to connect to other people. So I asked the girls next to me what they were having and if they could recommend anything to me to eat. So I used my adult skills to connect, okay? And that actually dissolved my feeling of loneliness. But in the same space, there was a little boy, I think he was about 9 or 10 years old, together with his father having dinner. And there were 2 plates for both of them, opposite on each other. And against the plate of the boy, there was a telephone screen. And against the plate of or the cup of the father, there was another telephone screen. So the father and the child, they were sharing a table, but they were not connected. They were not sharing any communication. And I observed the boy as I was sitting opposite to him, and I saw that he was so desperate to just get his father's glance and a smile, and it really broke my heart to see him like that.
So sad.
And now I finally do have a question, which is...
but thank you for sharing all of this. It's thank you.
Yeah, it really related to me that loneliness is actually the disconnection to our true selves, right?
Exactly.
And what I'm really worried about, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, is that I see many parents of young children nowadays, and even babies, who are given the cell phones to be distracted.
Exactly.
And it's really a method of disconnecting the child from the parent. And I think that I'm not a psychologist, but I think that by these situations, the child really lacks the response of physical, human communication to develop.
Exactly.
I think I'm not mistaken about that.
You're not.
Now, what can we do when we see this happening? What can we do to help? What can we say to parents without getting into a defendant's, how do you say that? A defense. And or can we do something for the child to give it the sense that it is being seen? What can we do? Do you have any ideas on that?
Actually, here in Romania, in schools, in some schools, but not in all schools, we are doing coaching for parents. There are voluntary groups who are going into kindergarten and also in schools, and they are teaching the parent, you know, and exactly about these things, you know. They are not allowed with telephones. And
so you're talking about psychoeducation.
Psychoeducation,
right?
exactly.
But me as a citizen, when I walk through the streets of a town and I see this, what can I do? I know. Tell me.
Okay.
Don't join the girls, join those two.
Ah, great.
Well,
okay.
thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.